Hello, my name is Bob. Welcome to a short stop on pool. I want to say thank you to everyone who came up and said hi at the Valley Championships in Las Vegas last week. That was a great time. I didn't do very well in the Open tournament, and our team didn't do too well. But I was fortunate enough to spend some time with Jerry Breseth, one of the best instructors in the country. And he gave me some tips and got me a little bit straightened out. And immediately following that, I went on to win the 50 years and older Intermediate Master 8-ball title, undefeated, and no opponent got more than 3 games. Give a lot of credit to Mark Wilson, of course, and to Jerry Breseth. And I'm still using those tips now that I've gotten back home on the 9-foot table. So let's check out this week's rack of the week. I'm starting this week's rack with the key ball from the previous rack, and I'm just above straight in. Now, I don't like drawing this cue ball back. You could end up way too high on the break ball. And this is just a follow forward out of the corner with a lot of inside English, a lot of left English. But you can see as I cue the ball that I'm not aiming high enough. And that's why the cue ball deflects almost straight to the bottom rail, and I end up with a very sharp angle on my break shot. There's a section in my book that talks about back cut shots, especially back cut break shots, and this one is well within the limits of what is reasonable to attempt during competition. With practice, such as practice that's outlined in my book, you can become comfortable with these shots. And so when I'm down on this shot, my focus, aside from aiming, is ensuring that I have a center ball aimed way at the top of the cue ball and have a nice, smooth follow stroke. And this rack should open up real nicely. Notice, once again, that I'm taking just a couple of moments right here to see the shot. I'm watching my cue ball hit the object ball will go in the pocket, and the rack open. I'm visualizing that just for a couple of moments before I get down in the shop. It's kind of a positive affirmation. And that's a pretty good result. Notice that you don't have to hit that break shot very hard. The cue ball is going to retain nearly all of the energy, and it's going to open that rack quite easily. So let's take a look at what we have. There is only one up-table ball, and I think every straight pool player in the world would shoot the 1 ball first, so that's a no-brainer. The 2 and the 3 ball are tied up on the side rail. That needs to be addressed immediately. And then there's a little 3-ball cluster, the 11, 6, 13 in the bottom part of the rack area. The 7 ball looks like my best break shot, my only break shot. The 9 ball could work. That's kind of a backup break shot, but I think I'm going to be trying to commit to the 7 ball. So the very first task is to deal with the 2 and the 3. And what I see is that if I can open those balls up, I have the 8, the 11, or the 6 as insurance balls, and maybe even the 5 ball on the side is an insurance ball. So how can I get those balls open? What I see is that bringing the cue ball down to center table right where I'm pointing here gives me a cut shot on the 10 to accomplish that goal. So let's give that a shot. By the way, removing the 10 ball opens up the 14 in the side as a key ball for my break shot. And I have the 9 and the 15 as insurance balls if I don't land exactly right on this 10 ball. For those reasons, this has to be the desired play after the 1 ball, in my opinion. Oh, and I have a video coming up where I run 130 balls of straight pool on a Valley bar table, and this exact shot ends my run. So keep an eye out for that one. So that little breakout worked wonderfully, and I'm straight in on the 5 in the side, and that's the right shot. I think a lot of players might go to the 2 because that'll get you on those 3 balls at the bottom rack area. But removing a ball that I call the break ball's brother, that 5 ball is right on top of my break ball, the 7, so it's good to remove that early. And it costs nothing to do so. But I did make a little mistake. I removed it real quickly without thinking how far back I wanted to draw the cue ball. I know I wanted a shot on the 6 or the 13 ball next. And the reason is the best K2 ball for the 14 in the side key ball is going to be one of these lower balls, the 11, the 6, 13, or the 8, because it's easy to get a shot on one of those balls and send the cue ball to the side rail and out for perfect position on the 14. That means that the 15 and the 9 are balls that I want to remove earlier in the run. And getting on the 6-13 is going to make it easy to get on the 9 and the 15. And then I would be able to use those balls to pivot back over to the 3 and the 2, using those to set myself up for my K2 ball. but I did not check my angle. I did not draw the cue ball back far enough to get a shot on the 6 of the 13. It's fortunate I have a shot on the 2, but I'm too steep on the 2 to hold the cue ball there for the 6 of the 13. So I just shoot the 2 and bring the cue ball back center table, knowing I'll have a shot on the 15 or the 9, and then I would work the problem from there. Right here is the critical shot of the rack. Obviously I have a shot on the 9 ball. It's a slight cut to the left. And I'm considering how can I hold the cue ball so I can get a shot on the 6 and move the cue ball down to the 8. In other words, my mindset is I want to shoot these balls in the position they lie. But because of some of the previous racks of the week, I've come to realize that there are times to break that rule. And this is one of those times. And you can see I just did a gentle nudge of that 11, and that made all the difference. Now the balls that need to be removed next are the 15 and the 3. Obviously I'm going to shoot the 6, and I can get a shot on the 15 in the side with an angle to draw over for the 3. Both the 11 and the 13 go in the bottom right. So the pattern is 6, 15, 3, 8, then come up for the 13 or the 11 in the bottom right, and then use the remaining ball as the K2 to get on the 14. There's a good point to be made about that 15 ball shot and this 3 ball shot coming up. I was a little bit fortunate to get nearly straight in on this 3 ball. I think I was trying to send the cue ball to the rail. The point is, if you shoot that 15 and just float the cue ball over, you might end up with too much angle. And now how are you going to get from the 3 to the rest of your pattern? The correct way to shoot a shot like that, I call it to the rail and off. In other words, when I shoot the 15, I want the cue ball to go all the way to the side rail and off the side rail. And if I do that, I'm guaranteed to be straight in or close to straight in and not have a big angle on the 3 ball. Then likewise, when I shoot the 3 ball, you could just shoot it softly and float down. You might end up with too much angle and a hard time getting position on the 11 or 13. A better way to shoot the 3 ball is to play the cue ball 2 rails. So again, to the rail and off. I'm going to go side rail, bottom rail, and off to get the right angle on the 8 ball. Let's see how I do. Well, that's acceptable, but I think it could have been better, and here's how. Imagine a line through the 8 ball parallel to the rail. If the cue ball lands between that line and the rail, I've got an inside angle cut shot, and it might be hard to get position on the 11-13. The cue ball might run into the 11. I tried to land on that line, which would have been great position, but I fell short. What if I had landed above that line or away from the rail? Then I would have an outside angle cut shot, and it'd be easy to follow forward 2 rails and get good position on the 11 or 13. Now that might not seem all that critical, but it really causes me trouble. All I can do here is roll the 8 ball in softly, and I end up with an angle on the 13 that's going to run into the 11. Now in hindsight, maybe I should shoot the 11 ball here and play position for the 13. But I choose the higher percentage shot, and I think that I'm going to nudge the 11 ball down a little bit, and it's going to be a simple matter to get on my key ball. Instead, I end up with way too much angle. There's no way that I can cut this 11 and hold the cue ball on the side rail for the 14 in the side. So that illustrates the dangers of bumping balls. So now I have a decision to make. I can bank the 11 and hold the cue ball for the 14 in the side. I can send the cue ball 3 rails around the table, trying to get on the 14 in the corner. I could send the cue ball 3 rails on the table longer, trying to get on the 14 in the side. Or I can just float the cue ball out to center table and shoot the 14 in the corner. I chose the last option, and here I'm playing to get straight in or short of straight in, because then I can bounce the cue ball off the side rail. If I come long, I can bounce the cue ball off the left side rail, but that's a much harder shot to predict, so I think that was the right way to go. Now let's fast forward and see how I do on the next break shot. This break shot is similar to the one that opened the rack in that it's a bit of an inside angle, But all I need to do with the cue ball is a straight high ball, this time with a medium firm stroke. So I'm just concentrating on a straight stroke and a high ball. Once again, it appears that I'm not aiming quite as high on the cue ball as I should, and with predictable results. I'm nearly scratching the side. So all in all, that was a pretty successful rack. I made some slight mistakes but was able to deal with them. But it illustrates how important it is to really make firm decisions about where you want the cue ball and to make correct decisions about when and how to bump balls or to choose not to. Thank you for watching, and I hope you found that informative and helpful. If you did, please hit the like button and consider subscribing. Check out my book, A Shortstop on Straight Pool. You can find it at shortstoponpool.com. Stay tuned for my next video where I run 130 balls on a 7-foot valley bar table. And stay tuned for next week's Rack of the Week. Thanks.